January 15, 1915, Milan, Italy. Rain lashes against shuttered windows, hammering like fists of a mob outside. In a narrow Milanese street, the cobblestones gleam black, slick with storm water. A door trembles under the assault of boots, then splinters open. Shadows spill into the room, carabinieri, trench coats dripping, pistols drawn, orders sealed with the ink of the regime. Inside, the air is heavy with perfume and powder. A salon chair overturned, mirrors fractured. Ida Dalsa clutches a bundle to her chest, marriage papers, a crumpled receipt, a lock of hair tied with ribbon. In the corner, a toy wooden boat lies on its side, its mast snapped, its paint chipped, abandoned mid-dream. A boy's faint breathing cuts through the chaos. The sound is fragile, like the ticking of a clock before it stops. A soldier's eyes flick toward the bed. Silence stretches, thick, unbearable. Then the boots advance. Ida steps back until her shoulders strike the wall. She hisses a single word, proof. She thrusts the papers out like a shield. But the officer doesn't read, his gloved hand seizes the documents, crumples them, and grinds them into the floor. The sound is louder than the storm. The lamp swings wildly, throwing long shadows across Ida's face, across the boy's wide eyes. She knows in this moment what they have come to take, not just the papers, not just her son, but their very existence. One soldier whispers to another, his words almost drowned by the rain, name. The reply is ice cold, a verdict passed in the dark, there is no name. Papers scatter like startled birds, ink bleeding into water. The boy's heartbeat swells in the silence, pounding against the storm. And with that, 2 lives vanish into the machinery of fascism, their erasure sworn before it has even begun. Morning breaks across Milan, but the city does not wake in peace. The rain has lifted, leaving the streets slick, the air heavy with damp smoke. A barber's pole spins. Posters slap against walls. The image of a man, jaw square, eyes burning, stares down from every corner, Illinois juice. Inside Ida Dalsa's French-style salon, mirrors glitter under gaslight. Scissors snap. A till slams shut. Perfume clouds the air like gunpowder. Women chatter about politics, the future, the storm on the horizon. They don't know their host has already become a liability to the very man they hail. Across town, the regime hums like a machine. Typewriters clatter like machine guns in party offices. Ink stamps thunder down, approvato. Respinto. Cigarette smoke curls through narrow rooms where clerks bend over files, erasing names, redacting lines. On a desk, a certificate flickers in lamplight, a marriage record, signed, legal, undeniable. A birth document, stamped with the name Benito Albino Mussolini. For a moment, truth exists on paper. Then, an ink brush drags across the line, blacking it out. A boy becomes invisible. Newsreels roar from cinema projectors, Mussolini atop a balcony, fists raised, crowds chanting juice. Juice. The flash of cameras is like muzzle fire. No mention of the woman in Sopramonte who funded his rise, no glimpse of the son born in 1915. In her home, Ida ties the broken mast of the toy boat with ribbon, setting it on the windowsill. The boy watches, eyes fixed on the horizon, whispering, the sea. But then, a courier slams a door open. Orders from Rome, erase the Dalsa name. Files vanish into drawers. Letters go unanswered. The machine is in motion. The city exhales. What the crowd sees, a strong leader untarnished. What they do not see, the shadow cast by a silenced family. The first strike does not come with a trial. It comes with a car door slamming shut. Ida's son, just a boy, is pulled from her arms, loaded into a waiting vehicle. Rainwater splashes as tires lurch forward. His toy boat tumbles from his pocket into the gutter. Ida sprints after the car. Her slippers slap the wet cobblestones, hair plastered to her face. She screams until her voice shreds. Windows stay shut. Curtains twitch but no one comes. The car vanishes into the fog, leaving her in silence broken only by her sobs and the echo of boots retreating. In a government archive, a clerk holds a bombshell in his hands, the marriage certificate, legal proof of union. He hesitates. Then, orders arrive. Destroy it. He lowers his eyes. The document vanishes into a file stamped secretissimo. The truth exists, but only in whispers. Ida fights back the only way left, pen and ink. She writes letters, dozens of them, to courts, to editors, to Mussolini himself. She writes with fire, naming him, naming the boy. Each envelope is intercepted. Mailboxes become graves for words. One evening, the bell rings. Doctors enter her home, not with stethoscopes, but with forms. They read her diagnosis aloud as if it were a death sentence, agitated. Delusional. Dangerous. The words scratch across the page like a bayonet carving flesh. Ida resists, clutching her papers. They wrench them away. She screams her son's name as straps bind her arms. Neighbors hear, but shutters close. Suddenly, without warning, she is carried into the night. Not to a court, not to a trial, but to the cold corridors of an asylum. Her protest is buried in stone walls and barred windows. And the boy? He disappears into another family's home, renamed, watched, owned. The state has drawn first blood. The journey becomes chains. Trains groan out of stations, their wheels clanking like shackles. Ida is pressed against a window, her breath fogging the glass as the Italian countryside rolls past in ghostly silence. Verona. Venice. An island asylum. Each transfer another nail sealing her fate. Guards sit stiff beside her, faces blank, orders sealed in pockets. The asylums blur together, whitewashed walls, barred windows, corridors that smell of bleach and despair. Ida writes on scraps of cloth torn from her sheets. Smuggled letters, desperate words. I am his wife. I am the mother of his child. But one by one, they are discovered, confiscated, burned. Punishment follows, solitary confinement, sedation, humiliation. Outside, the regime closes its fist. Shadows follow her son, Benito Albino. He grows under the watchful eye of his new guardians, a fascist loyalist family. Even in safety, the boy is never free. Men in dark coats stand at corners. Conversations pause when he enters a room. By 1940, he wears the uniform of the Italian Royal Navy. The sea crashes against steel hulls, gulls scream overhead, ropes creak in salt wind. Among sailors, he whispers his truth, I am Mussolini's son. Some laugh, some recoil, some report. The words climb the chain of command, back to the desk where files are shredded and lives erased. In Rome, documents disappear. Birth records vanish from archives. His name, once printed in black ink, dissolves into a blur of nothingness. A new file replaces it, stamped in red, monitored. But Ida resists still. From within her cell, she fights with pen and voice. Every act of defiance is crushed. The regime grows louder, more merciless, more afraid of a mother's voice and a son's claim than of enemy guns. The walls close in. Her silence is the state's demand. But Ida Dalsa has never been silent. War engulfs Europe. Sirens wail over Italian cities, searchlights tear the sky. Bombs rumble in the distance like thunder on the horizon. But in the shadows of war, another, quieter battle rages, in padded rooms, in locked wards, in the sterile glow of hospitals where truth is crushed under white tiles. Inside one asylum, Ida lies strapped to a bed. Rubber straps squeak as she thrashes, eyes burning with fury. Nurses exchange glances. Doctors scribble notes, resists treatment. Disturbs order. The sound of keys jangling down corridors echoes like bayonets clattering in a trench. Her son's fate runs parallel. On a naval vessel, Benito Albino stares across the dark sea. Depth charges detonate far below, geysers of salt water exploding skyward. He grips the railing and whispers again, I am Mussolini's son. His voice swallowed by the wind, carried into the night. The sailors around him turn away. But someone reports. The words are logged. The consequences are set in motion. Cut to a room with a single buzzing light bulb. Benito Albino sits, face pale, eyes defiant. A pen scratches across a form, institutionalize. A stamp slams down. Orders cascade. The boy is swallowed by the same system that devoured his mother. The asylum corridors close around him. Needles glint. Machines hum. Electrodes snap into place. A lever pulled. White flash. His body jerks, eyes roll back. The logbook records it coldly, therapy administered. Rumors spread, repeated injections, endless shocks. A doctor whispers, cardiazol. Another mutters, high voltage. Neither dare say what it truly is, execution disguised as treatment. And in a hidden drawer, a letter from Ida survives, smuggled, torn, her handwriting shaking but unbroken, recognize your blood. Recognize your son. But the order from above is merciless. Erase them both. The war outside roars louder. Yet in these silent rooms, unseen by the world, a mother and son are being annihilated, not by bombs, but by their own bloodline. The end comes quietly, without a trial, without a verdict. For Ida Dalsa, dawn breaks inside a stone-walled ward. Her hair has been shorn, her body weak, but her eyes, still aflame. A nurse approaches with a tray. Syringe. Cup. Sedation. Ida pushes it away, the tray clattering across the floor. For a moment, her defiance echoes down the corridor like a gunshot. But punishment follows. Straps tighten. Curtains drawn. In the early hours of 1937, her body is found still, her chart stamped with cold finality, cause of death, unknown. To the world outside, her voice has ended. To the regime, a problem has been solved. Her son's last stand comes years later, in 1942, inside Mombello Mental Hospital. Benito Albino, 27 years old, shackled by leather restraints, still insists on one truth: I am Mussolini's son. His voice bounces off tiled walls, met only with silence. The treatments intensify. Electrodes clamp his temples. A switch thrown, white flash, convulsion. The log reads clinical, detached, session complete. Some whisper it was injections. Others, shocks repeated until the heart gave way. Whichever the method, the outcome is the same. 2 treatments left. No visitors. Just one signature. And then, it ends. Flatline in paperwork, a single word inked in red: deceased. Outside, in a rain-soaked cemetery, a shovel bites into earth. A coffin lowered into unmarked soil. No stone. No name. No flowers. Only silence. A dictator's son, erased as if he had never been. The toy boat rots away in the gutter. The war machine grinds on, but the silence around Mussolini's hidden family lingers like smoke after battle. A year after his son's death, in 1943, the Deuce himself falls. Crowds once raised in salute now curse his name. His empire collapses. But the graves of Ida and Benito Albino remain nameless, their story buried deeper than rubble. Yet history has a way of clawing through the ashes. In burned files, torn certificates, whispered testimonies, fragments survive. Archivists piece together what the regime tried to destroy. The names return: Ida Dalsa, Benito Albino Mussolini. 2 names the dictator could not erase forever. The final image lingers, an empty pier, waves slapping against wooden pylons. A child's toy boat drifts aimlessly across the water, unclaimed, unmoored, yet still afloat. It carries with it the memory of a family the state tried to sink into oblivion. This is their legacy, not silence, but remembrance. A reminder that even dictators fear the truth most when it lies within their own blood. And now, you hold this story in your hands. If it moved you, if it shocked you, if it revealed a shadow you never knew, do not let it vanish again. Share it. Pass it on. Let others see the faces the regime tried to erase. Because memory itself is resistance. And remembrance can be a weapon.